Okay, I bet we forgot number 1 and 2. It's been a while. So my advice for these, and these are on the test, and they're really quick questions, so you could get a lot of points right really quickly, or a lot of points wrong really quickly. Is at least. So my advice is put an age in there. If you guys are at least 13, what does that mean?
X is greater than 13.
Huh? What does it mean if I say you guys are at least 13?
It's greater than or equal to.
You're 13 or older, so greater than or equal to. What's greater than or equal to look like? Yeah. Okay, greater than is the one that. Okay, maybe this will. I don't know if this will help. You know how the mouth eats the larger number, right? It's hungry. So this is called greater than because the number on the left is greater than the number on the right. So that's greater than. Hopefully you guys have started to figure it out. But okay. Number 3, write an inequality equivalent. Okay. So it says not greater than or equal to. What's that the same thing as? Right. That's the same. Not greater than or equal to is less than. Why is less than 3? That's it. Okay, graph x is greater than or equal to -2. Atticus. What's that going to look like on the graph? So should the circle be open or closed? Closed. I'm talking to Atticus. And should the arrow be going left or right? Right. So you can kind of tell because this arrow usually will match this arrow, unless the X is on the wrong side. Because all the numbers that are greater than -2 are to the right on the graph. Number 7. Okay, this is where you need to start showing your work. Most of you guys are, but like 2 people are still not showing your work on stuff. 2 or 3 maybe.
If you one of them.
Occasionally, maybe not in the last week or 2. Okay. Let's see. Brianna, what would we do to solve this? Brianna, stop writing it down and answer the question. What would we do to solve that? Okay. Yeah, to get rid of -17, yeah, we would add 17. Alright, so we get -6 plus 17 is 11. It doesn't say we have to graph these, so I guess we're good. What's different from this and yesterday's homework? Because people do get those confused. Okay, why doesn't it have an or statement or a...
There's no absolute value.
Okay, there's no absolute value. So if it doesn't have these things, don't make it difficult. You just do normal stuff. So we will talk about those absolute values again later. Number 9, -5x 21, -5z.
Do you want 11 written the way it's written or written from A to the side?
I don't know what you mean.
For 11, it has a number first, but do you want the answer to have the number first or B?
Oh, well, technically it's right both ways. Might be less confusing if you switch. Let's see, Miranda, how would we solve this one? What happens when we divide by negative? 21, switches. Few of us are still getting that wrong too. Okay, 21 doesn't divide by 5. Don't put it in your calculator. Just do 21 fifths. 21 over 5. Do you hear what I just said? Number 11. All right, Owen, what should we do on this one?
We should subtract by 7 first.
Do you guys know how I could rewrite this, like switch the order? If I put 3b plus 7 on this side, that should be greater than negative 5. So you could write it like that, solve it if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Okay, now what?
Divide by 3.
All right. Does the inequality switch? No. We're dividing by positive 3, so you don't have to switch anything. Now if I were to look this up in the back of the book, they wouldn't have it written like.
There's a
Wait, yeah, it's negative 3.
Oh, it is a negative 3? Well, I guess we are switching then. Okay, so the inequality switches. And if I look this up in the back, what would it look like? They would put the b in the front. Okay, either way, 4 greater than or equal to b is the same thing as b is less than or equal to 4. Okay, 13, negative 3, 5x minus 3. Greater than 5 minus 7x plus 2. Alright, Brooke, what should we do on this one? Distribute. How about the right side?
5 plus 2.
Yeah, 5 plus 2 can go together. Now, if we have x's on both sides,
Add 7x.
okay, we want to get rid of them on one side, so you could do either the 15 or the 7x, but adding will get rid of the minus.
You would subtract 24. 7.
There's a lot of fractions on these. Not a ton. Okay, divide by negative, so the inequality is going to switch. Number 15, word problems. Okay, write an inequality and solve. So we need to write not just the answer here. Find all numbers such that adding 15 to 23 times the number is greater than 429. So adding 15 to 23 times the number is greater than 429. Corbin, what would that look like?
23x plus 15 is greater than
What was it, 429?
29. We would subtract 15. And divide by 23.
That looks like that might be a decimal. Somebody plug that in yet?
It's 18.
Comes out exactly? Okay. Actually, I think I want to look. 16, they asked the answer in a slightly different way, so I think I want to look at 16. It says, find the largest integer such that 8 more than 6 times that integer is less than the opposite of 42. What's an integer? What kind of number? It can be like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's no fractions, no decimals, just like numbers that we normally put on the number line. Okay, so case 8 more than 6 times the integer. How would I write that part?
6n plus 8.
You can also do 8 plus 6n, the order of addition doesn't matter. Is less than the opposite of 42.
So less than 42 in the brackets.
No, what's the opposite of 42?
Negative 40. Oh, negative
Negative
42.
42. Okay, so setting it up is not the weird part. It's the final answer that's a little bit weird. We subtract our 8 and divide by 6. Let's see, what would that be? -8, 3 repeating, I think. Okay, that's not the answer they actually wanted. Because they said n has to be an integer. And their question was, what's the largest integer that n could be? What's the largest number that's an integer, that's less than -8.3? What's right below -8.3? What integer is right below -8.3?
8.4.
That's not an integer. Okay, where's -8.3 at? -8 1/3 is right there.
-9.
What integer is less than that, but the biggest one possible? Okay, there's a bunch out here, but 9 is the biggest integer that's less than -8.3. So that what they wanted was actually just the -9. So they just asked the question a little bit differently. What's the largest integer that does this stuff? So -9 was the biggest.
So it had to be like the biggest one that was less than it, but it had to be like without
Yeah.
decimals.
Yeah, we know n has to be less than -8.3, and they asked for the largest integer that n could be. So -9 is the biggest possible. -10, -11, -12, those all work, but -9 was the biggest one. All right, number 17. I think that 16 was the only one that's like that. Okay, anyway, 17. Find all the numbers such that the product of 7 and a number is more than. Kenton, do you remember what product meant? No. Okay. What you guys? Anybody else remember what product? Times. So yeah, it's what was it? 7 and a number. Okay. Is more than, what would that be, Kenton? Right. Greater than is more than the sum of 7 and the number. So what's sum mean? Add. So it would be 7 plus the number. Oh, actually this one does ask for the smallest integer. Again, kind of like the last one. Ken, what do I do when I have n's on both sides of the inequality? Right, minus n to clean it up. So we got 6n over here. Okay. All right. I just changed it to a mixed number because the question is, what's the smallest integer that would work for this? So what's the smallest integer that's greater than 1 and 1/6?
0.
Greater than
Oh, greater than.
2, yeah. So they actually wanted 2 for the final answer. Number 19. I was thinking today we'd probably get to 27. That'd be a little bit over half. And tomorrow's Wednesday, so we won't have as much time. 19. Allie has test scores of 75 or 78, 95, 78, 93. Ali, I guess, because it's a he. And he needs to have a test average of at least 90 to get an A on his report card. What's the lowest score he can get on his final test and still have an A? Any ideas on this one? I might open this one up. It's trickier. So we're talking about average. How many things are we averaging?
3.
Why is it 4? Why is it 4?
Because he needs one last test.
The fourth test is the test he hasn't taken yet. How do we average 4 numbers together? You guys remember?
And then you divide by them.
Right, you add them together and divide by 4. And we want his average to be at least 90 because he wants an A. So we're going to add the 4 numbers, 75 or 95, 78. I keep saying that. 93. So he had a bad second test. What am I going to put for the fourth test though?
And
Right, that's my unknown. That's my variable. Okay, all of that is going to be divided by 4. That's how you average numbers, right? And we want his grade to be at least a 90. So how do I put at least a 90?
less than or equal to 90.
Greater than or equal to 90.
That's close.
Okay, that's how it sets up. What would the first step be to solve though? Yeah, you could simplify this, you could add those together, but I would get rid of this 4. Doesn't really matter what you do first. So since the whole side is divided by 4, you can get rid of it by multiplying by 4. It's kind of like this, if you multiply by 4, you know how you multiply fractions, that'll just go away. But then we have to multiply this side by 4 as well.
60.
All right. Now it's looking simpler. So we can add all those together. What is that? 266. Now it's looking much simpler. So what does this answer mean?
Means he needs a 94 on his test.
Right, he needs at least a 94 on his test to get an A in the class. Okay. Well, maybe I'll talk about 22, because 20 as well, I mean. 2 inequality statements joined by the word and is called a what? Conjunction. That's 20. And then 21, we didn't really use the word union, but union means or, so the or was called a what? Disjunction.
Would be a conjunction, disjunction.
Okay, so 22 through 27 is graphing, and then the next section is not graphing, basically. So we kind of had some mixed results. I know these assignments can be hard, I know. Our graphing was not great on that assignment. Anyway, let's go through it again here. So 23 says x is greater than negative 2 and less than or equal to 4. Make sure negative 2 and 4 is somewhere on the graph. So what I had you do is draw two floating lines, or rays I guess, above the graph. So they were not the answer. Some of us, all we did was put those floating lines and didn't really put an answer. What's x is greater than negative 2? Where did I leave off at? Abby, what's x is greater than negative 2 look like?
An open circle over -2 going right.
Good, yeah. Okay, so if this was the answer, that stuff would be down here on the graph. So this is just to help us like think about it. Putting it up there. X is less, Abby, what would x is less than or equal to 4 look like?
A closed circle going
Notice I'm drawing my arrows kind of long so I can see how they interact with each other. Okay, this was an and statement. What do we use when it's an and statement? Both. What does and mean? It means this one and that one. So it's got to be numbers that are in both of these things. So what numbers are in both of these?
Numbers in between.
Right. I always drew this and that seemed to still confuse you guys, but this, I'm drawing it right there because this is where they're both at. Okay? So Luke said between these two. That's where they're both at. Out here to the right, they're not both out here. Out here to the left, they're not both out here. Okay, but everything between -2 and 4 is part of the answer. So -2 is not part of the answer because it's not included in this one. 4 is part of the answer because it's in both of these. And it's just connect the dots on that one. Okay, do you guys know what the answer would have been if it had been an or statement? Okay, if the numbers could be this one, all these, or all these, what would that include? All real numbers. Okay, because on an or, it doesn't have to be both of them. It can be either, that's one. Every number is covered by either this or that. It goes forever both ways. I'm sure one of these is all real numbers and one of them is no solution. That's usually how it goes. Exit number 25. Whoops. Oh, that was 23. I didn't write down 21. We just talked about it. X is less than 3. What did the V mean? Yeah, or the and one looked kind of like a capital A. All right. Okay. James, what's x is less than 3 look like?
An open circle with 3 dot left.
And x is greater than or equal to -1.
Closed circle, -1 dot
Actually, this is a lot like the last one, isn't it? Because we got two lines going in opposite directions and they overlap. But this time it's an or. So what numbers are covered by this line or this line? All. All real numbers. Okay. Some of you on the homework, a lot of you actually, put this and then like a line. What's wrong with that? Okay, an open circle means that number is not included. We don't need a closed circle either because all numbers are covered. So we don't need any dots down here. Every number is included, so we just have a solid line going forever. No, I was wrong. There aren't any no solutions. Alright. This will be our stopping point here. If you want to be on pace, probably try to get to 26. But we'll try to finish this tomorrow. Now they're actually going to make us do some work here. Lauren, you're the lucky one. You are blessed. 16x. Well, 16x plus 4x. Let's go ahead and do that in our heads. 20x over there. Minus 6 is greater than 54. They had a 16x plus 4x on the same side, so we just put it together. Alright, Lauren, what should I do on this left one? Okay, divide by 4. Well, at least they didn't give us any fractions. I'm gonna cheat a little bit on this one. 3 and 10. Okay, Lauren, what's x is greater than 3 look like? Oh, you're talking about 10? Yeah. I think it might have said 3, I don't know why. Closed circle going to the right. Okay, what's x is greater than 3 look like? Open circle. Yep. All right. If it's an and, what are we actually going to use? No idea. Where are they both at? Over here on the right, right? So, where do they start both appearing? At 10, and then after, right? So, really the answer is just the x is greater than or equal to 10 part. So, if it's an and, maybe if you guys can process this, if it's an and, it's got to be both. That's what and means. That and that. That's where both of them are. But if it's an or, if either covers it, so if it's an or, we'd have to start all the way back at 3 going this way, because it's covered by either this or that.
Oh, so it'd be like,
But anyway, that's the answer on that one.